Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. We're in chapter 10. This is the last part in chapter 10, and this is anger, and we need it so badly in today's world. So we are go rewatch the other ones too. You got to chazara and rewind. Not what? How do you say chazara? What's chazara? Hello.
Review.
Thank you. Hello. I need to chazara. Okay, here we go. How to say it in English? Okay, we're on ladies. Let's see. The Bird's Eye View, chapter 10, page 257 in Marriage Secrets. Okay, ideas of what to think. Recognize the anger danger zone. The minute you feel your anger begin to flare, recognize that any show of anger will make things worse every single time. Nothing good will ever come from showing anger. Number 2, consider mood. Are either of you or your husband suffering from lack of food, lack of sleep, or in the middle of a stressful work situation? Moods affect how well we are able to cope with and resolve conflicts. When moods are testy, you can discuss something for 20 minutes and get nowhere. If someone is in a bad mood, postponing the matter for a while is almost always the right choice. Also, one way to self-assess your own mood is that if everything seems to be annoying you at the moment, that is usually a good time to take a nap. Number 3, weigh the importance of the issue. Ask yourself, is what I'm upset about worth losing closeness to my husband, losing blessing, losing money? Number 4, temporary insanity. Recognize that the Gemara teaches us that no man commits a sin unless he was stricken with temporary insanity. When we are angry, we often don't seem to act like ourselves. Knowing this may help you to stop yourself and turning into someone you don't really want to be or saying things you don't really mean. Number 5, judge favorably. Since the Torah tells us clearly that we are meant to judge others favorably, always ask yourself, how can I judge my husband favorably at this moment? When emotions are flying, that's the most common time for misunderstandings to arise because everything is usually interpreted in the worst possible way. By taking a moment to give your husband the benefit of the doubt, you won't automatically assume that his actions are purposefully hurtful. Okay, these are some ideas for introspection. Ready? Recognition. Notice when you get angry. Often people aren't even aware when they are angry. Something sets them off, and it's as if a light switch has been flipped on, and their tone, attitude, and often their hostility gets activated. Get to know your patterns, to recognize familiar triggers, and to look into your past for habitual rage makers. Begin to watch yourself like a hawk to discover when your anger flares up. Number 2, know your anger level. Are you quick to anger, slow to forgive, or slow to anger and quick to forgive? Rate yourself to better understand that perhaps it's not the people around you who are so frustrating. Maybe you have a quick temper. Knowing this about yourself is crucial in terms of learning the appropriate coping skills for yourself. The more challenged we are in this area, the more we have to study and implement more and more tools until we can tone down the level of anger and hostility in our homes. Number 3, scapegoating. Check to see if you're using your husband as your own personal scapegoat for whatever is annoying you at the moment. It is so tempting to take out all of our frustrations on those closest to us, especially since living under one roof means they will often do things that don't fit your ideal of what they should be doing. Number 4, write a letter. Some people benefit from writing a letter to the person they're angry with to explore the angry feelings. They pour their heart into the pages, bringing a lot of their deep feelings to the surface. It can be extremely cathartic, although it might be better if the letter is never sent. Sending such a letter can often cause much more damage than it solves, so be extremely cautious. But it is a good way to process deep emotions that may have been buried for a long time, but still affect our actions even without our realizing it. If there's more anger than you realize, it would be extremely beneficial to speak with a trained professional. Number 5, anger notebook. Make yourself an anger notebook designed to help you to manage your anger better. Here are a ton of ideas for various actions you can work on the areas that are most pertinent to your own growth. Managing your growth in this way will give you concrete goals as well as help you to track your progress, which helps to keep you motivated. Examples of sections. Things I am angry about from my past. Things I am angry about that my husband did. Anger that I would like to get over. Triggers that make me angry. How I have improved my anger management this week. Anger management mentors. Success stories of how I conquered my anger. past patterns of anger management that don't serve me well, how I cope with anger feelings, ways I would like to cope with anger feelings in the future, actions I will take to manage my anger better, brainstorming strategies for getting over my anger, plan of action for coping with anger better, and benefits I have seen in my marriage from handling my anger more productively. Ideas. Oh, this is the last section. Yeah, okay. Ideas for planning ahead. Number 1, prepare. Plan in advance how to calm yourself down when you get angry. Have several different strategies on tap. Going into a private room, listening to music, talking to a close friend, taking a nap, getting an errand done, doing some exercise, etc. The more tools you have to prevent anger from getting the best of you, the more wins you will have against the enemy. Read books, talk to your advisors, your Rob, your Rebbitzin, but make sure you grow your toolbox so when conflicts arise, you get better and better at handling them. Number 2, recognize triggers. The more we understand what tends to set us off, our past anger patterns and the emotions underneath our actions, the better armed we will be so we don't act out of anger. Writing down our triggers and then planning how we will counter them will give us logistical strategies to avoid acting out of anger. Knowing that we flare up during dinner means we should lighten our load as much as possible during that time. Understanding that we are always highly anxious before our monthly board meeting gives us a vital information so we know from now on we should order pizza on those nights. Or if we are feeling hormonal, taking some items off our task list, it's a simple matter of taking care of ourselves so we don't act out our anger. Number 3, plan for lack of self-control. If you have a habit of losing control of your mouth when you get angry, knowing this can help you plan ahead. Make yourself a list of potential things to say when you feel yourself losing control. For instance, say sincerely, not angrily, "If you don't mind, I'd better leave the room so I don't say anything I'll regret later." Or, "I think we should take a break from this issue until I can cool off a bit." As long as this is done in a constructive way and will not be used as a way to give someone the silent treatment, this is a good strategy. The difference between giving yourself time to cool off and giving the silent treatment is your tone of voice, the fact that you initiate the return to the discussion and you return as quickly as possible. Taking responsibility for your own lack of self-control is called being a mensch, and protecting your husband from your outbursts will bring a level of closeness and safety to the marriage. Okay, 2 last ones, ladies. Distraction number 4. If you feel your anger levels rising, make a plan for how to cope with your anger. That may include doing something to relax, exercising, journaling, talking to someone about it if it can't be done without gossiping, or making a plan to discuss it with your spouse. Lastly, number 5, incremental progress. Sometimes we get so overwhelmed by life that our ability to manage our anger seems to simply slip out of control. This is normal. Growth is not a straight line up. Our abilities to wax and wane over time, and a great setback should not dissuade us from our mission. We have to be patient with ourselves and happy with small, steady, incremental progress. Wow. Okay, that was chapter 10. Guys, what is your questions, Gila?
Okay, great. So a great chapter, a lot of great tips, and a lot of questions coming in. So we're grateful to everyone who's listening. Libby asks, "I get annoyed when I'm tired, but my lifestyle doesn't allow for any naps in the day or early nights. I know that I'm snappy and anger management sounds great, but I feel trapped in my circumstances."
Okay, so you're going to have to do the micro relaxation techniques. Okay, so micro relaxation techniques are, like you're in the middle of 14 things or whatever, and a very good place to go is the restroom. Make sure the stove is down and the kids is safe and everything's whatever. Just go there and have like a picture book or something simple, or a cute trivia book or something like that, where you can just have a minute to yourself. If you can do that in your living room couch with a recliner with the legs up, all the better. But with our crazy busy households and people coming and going, that may not be possible. Your bedroom's also a good place, or a closet, or wherever you can just get a few minutes, and you will be shocked to know what 3 minutes of mini care can do. So I think that's all that you are going to be able to do with your house, as crazy as it is. And there's many, many different types of it. It's either reading or just, going out your front door, walking around your house or your apartment or whatever one time, and then coming back in the house. If you have to leave, if you want to go around the block, if you depending on your childcare situation or something like that, just clearing your head. Literally, you can put a timer, 3 minutes. 5 minutes, 7 minutes, you learn your routines. Everybody should have that in their life. If you don't, I'm very, very sorry. And then there's nothing I can do to help. No, but just taking a little bit of break, even just, you're stirring the pot, and for a few minutes, put an earbud in and listen to your favorite song while you're stirring a pot, when the kids are all there and this one's over there and the phone's ringing and whatever, shut everything out and do something like that. Try to find these mini moments. If you can do more than that, again, this is self-care, and this isn't like, I know it sounds like this is, the big movement of self-care that's sweeping America, and now we're all caught up in it. No, actually, we have from Revolby talks about how every person should make time. Their life shouldn't be so crazed that they don't have time to have a schmooze with somebody, a casual conversation, that our life shouldn't be so crazy that again, we went over this whole thing about being addicted to accomplishing and so forth. And, there's sometimes we're just inundated. There's too much going on and too much coming at us, and we're trying to deal with it. I get it. But there's also a lot we put on ourselves. A lot, like, the tablecloth has to match the napkins, it has to match the this, or, that, oh, I have to, I told myself I'm going to not speak Lashon Hara. So I'm, today I'm going to, do 100%, and then you don't, and then you're beating yourself up, whatever it is, whatever level of growth that we're pressuring ourselves on, we put a lot of the stuff on ourselves. And, it's like I told this woman who was really on the verge of a breakdown, she bathed her kids every day. And I'm like, bathe them every other day. And she's like, I can't, I can't think they'll be sleeping on their pillow and they won't be, whatever. So there's some mishigas that we put on ourselves that maybe there isn't. Okay. Maybe you're 100% and you do everything that you have to do. But a lot of us put a lot of mishigas. How do you translate mishigas? Craziness, nuttiness. I don't know.
Yeah, craziness, but it's
pressure.
Pressure. Yeah.
We put pressure on ourselves, and if we can learn to readjust our expectations of ourselves and our perfectionism, if we do that, you can see there's probably at least 1% or 5% of stuff that you're doing during the day that doesn't need to be done, but we pressure ourselves to be perfect and to be the best we can be. So go easy on yourself, and Hashem should bench you with koyach in this. Great question.
Okay. Meira asks, a lot of times when I feel angry, there isn't enough time to walk away and take space to calm down first. A lot of these arguments happen as one of us are late or running out the door or tending to our children's immediate needs. What can I do in a situation where I can't leave to diffuse the situation?
You can say, we're going to agree to disagree. Right now, we're going to couch this for later. And, say whether you have notes on your phone, or you have a little index card, or you have Post-it notes that you remind each other of things or whatever, and say, we'll cover it later. Right now is not a good time. I'm going to say something I don't mean, or you're going to say something that's going to be hurtful that you don't mean. We're both at this moment. It's not going to go well. It's not going well at this moment. Very, very good question. Okay, good. What else?
Okay, amazing. Okay, so Delia asks, my husband often brings humor into an argument to diffuse the situation, but it gets me more angry because it makes me feel like he isn't taking me seriously. I know he's doing it for good reasons, but in the moment...
I missed the word. He's bringing in...
humor.
Oh, humor. Okay, yeah, okay, good. With you.
Into an argument to diffuse the situation, but it gets me more angry because it makes me feel like he isn't taking me seriously. I know he's doing it for good reasons, but in the moment, it naturally just makes me more upset. Should I tell him to stop, even though it technically is a very good tactic?
So your question is very telling. Should I tell him to stop? We're not in the job. Our job isn't to control and tell. You know, the question should have read, should I have a conversation, a gentle, sweet, loving conversation, kind conversation with my husband about what we can do to resolve this together. Okay, just tweaking you a little bit. I hope you don't take it harshly. I'm trying to be humorous. Exactly what you hate. Now you're probably mad at me. Right? Anyways, okay, so fine. So here's the thing, that when he is making his humor, look, I'm so predisposed to humor solves all problems that if you can make it work for you, that would be my first choice. If it really just bugs you so much that you can't do it or you need to grow into that, then I definitely would recommend that you say something to him like, you know, I totally get your love for me, that when you're trying to make humor in the middle of the thing. I wished I was that person. I wish I could, and maybe I will be. I'm trying to grow and to be more mature and to be able to take it for the goodness that's meant there. But it's backfiring a little for some reason, because it just makes me feel like you're not taking me seriously or understanding me or whatever. And I feel like if, I'm me sharing how I feel about it with you, I feel like is taking a little out of the pressure out of the balloon, so that it's not doesn't, but hopefully I'm hoping that will come out of this conversation. But the other thing I'm hoping come out of this conversation is that when you use your humor, you also will say something like, I heard what you said, I get it, but isn't it funny, blah blah blah. I'm like, if that's incorporated some way, I think that would make me feel better. And I think, dear, we're going to have to just kind of trial and error different ways to so that your intention of making the air lighter in an angry conflict situation is successful. Because I think it's a great idea and I'm totally behind it. I'm just having a defensive instant reaction to it. And I think if we work it together, it can be improved. What do you think? And then kind of put the problem in his hands and hear what he has to say. Gewaldig, guys. Wow, good questions. Okay, what you got for me?
Hey, Leah, I love this one. Esther asks, I just want to be moody sometimes. Can I ever indulge myself? If so, how do I do it guilt-free? It's like we almost always have to be perfect.
That's right. Okay. Ooh, I hear that. It's adorable. Yeah, I mean,
Take a boxing class. No, kidding.
all right. Yeah. Well, the thing about it is that, if your moodiness, I get it. And sometimes person just wants, they wake up or whatever, and they just like want to slump around and, just, whatever. I get how you want to be in your mood. The problem is if your mood is taking other people down with you, it's not fair. Like, in other words, just think about it the other way around. If your husband's like all moody and comes home and whatever, and you had a great day and everything, and he's like whatever, and then the whole room kind of goes into this black hole of his mood. It's just not. It's not. I mean, look, if that happens every once in a while and you totally can't control it, I totally hear. But we do have a responsibility to manage our moods so they don't bring everybody down with us. And you know even if you try your hardest to do that, if you're not genuinely feeling up and bouncy and happy or whatever, it is going to bring the house down, and that's okay. Life doesn't always have to be at the fever pitch of, woo, aren't we having fun? But the point is if you're letting your moods affect the sort of health in the home. When you get in a bad mood, you're snapping and you're yelling and why did you clean it up? And I told you this, and like that. You're just creating this lack of trust and this lack of safety in the environment. If you can go into a mood and you're in a bad mood and you kind of want to wallow in the bad mood, okay, I hear other people are like that. No, if you really want to just wallow in it, it's okay if you don't um uh, uh dagger, what's the word I'm looking for, if you don't affect everybody in a negative way and run around doing damage. If you're in a bad mood and you're taking just with a knife, like this. For the audio listeners, I'm like making sword movements all with my hand. If you're just walking around cutting everybody, that's not acceptable. A million times not acceptable. So if you can wallow in it without hurting anybody, goes into hate, go for it. But usually if you're in a bad mood and you're giving the silent treatment or snapping or whatever, it's going to cause damage that you can't afford in a beautiful home. Just takes all the harmony and out of the home. So good luck. Okay, good. Okay,
So
what
Leah,
else?
moms get no time off, it seems like. No, kidding.
Oh, any
Yeah.
time off, God also doesn't get time off.
Go on vacation to be moody. That's what we should do. No, okay. So Lauren asks, I feel down when I see how many times a day I'm not mastering my anger. In a way, I'd rather have never paid attention to my anger triggers because all that happens is I see how much I'm failing. How can I stay motivated with with these daily failures?
Beautiful question. It's a beautiful question, and it's the question of a really awesome person. Like, I want to be your friend. You know what I mean? It's like it's just somebody who's owning up to themselves and being authentic with what their struggle is. So I totally hear you. And the answer is that if you see your behavior as bad and wrong, right, you're going to beat yourself up. But if you see it as a stepping stone to getting to who you can become, that shift will hopefully give you the koyach to realize that, listen, I grew up in a family where everybody yelled, or they were wonderful and I just was a bad girl and yelled. I don't know, whatever. If you see it like that, and then you see that, but I'm taking responsibility. I yell 10 times every single day. I'm yelling at this one and that one and whatever, and I yell 10 times a day. And today I yelled 9 times, and then you go out and buy yourself a big chocolate bar or an ice cream sundae or a piece of cake, or other rewards for your goof, shopping or listening to music or relaxing or schmoozing with a friend, whatever but if you reward your goof for that thing, and have your body, your goof is listening to what your neshama is telling it to do, you've gone from 10 times to 9 times, and that's huge. And all we can ask of ourselves is to grow in the right direction. That's all Hashem asks of us, is to grow in the right direction. So you have to spend a lot less time beating yourself up and a lot more time celebrating and rewarding yourself for that one time you did it correctly. Just make that shift like that overnight, like right now, stop beating yourself up. Don't let, and if your brain starts going to be like, oh, I can't believe I yelled again. I can't believe I did it. And why did I say that to my son? That was so not a nice thing to say. Maybe you'll start apologizing more. Maybe before you yell it, whatever, the more you're aware of it, I get it. It's not pleasant, but that's part of the process of becoming the best you. And regret is often the greatest thing to steer us into being doing the right thing. I wish you the best of luck in it. Good question, and you should have kaya.
Okay, okay, and this is the last question we have time for today. Khani asks, the other day I had a mental breakdown, and because of this, my husband took the day off and really attended to me, and it was exactly what I needed. If I held it all together in that moment, I wouldn't have gotten what I needed, even if I communicated it with my husband. It was because I was authentic in the moment and a bit out of control that it made an impact. My question is, why should we control our expressions and feelings when it's cathartic and healing to be real?
It depends on what your definition of real is. Is the real somebody who is losing it and, well, I'm being real? It's also being not taking care of anybody else, right? It's not real. That's not what God would consider real. That's not emes. That's not truth. That's letting your anger take over you, and not, the Chazal say that, anger, anybody who has anger or shows anger is only the temporary insanity is taking over them. So that's not real. So I don't know what you meant by a breakdown, and I'm sorry you had that. And Hashem should give you koyach, and your husband koyach or whatever. A breakdown, I assume you meant that you just lost it or whatever, and it was authentic. But again, authenticity is not anywhere near what Hashem is looking for us. He's looking for us to take care of other people and take care of ourselves. And it's totally, purely self-destructive. You think, oh, now my husband took care of me, which is exactly what I need. But guess what? Your husband also is now terrified that at any moment he could lose his wife. I mean, not physically, or maybe physically, maybe you could drop dead, because your anger got so out of control. You could have a spike in your blood pressure in your brain. Who knows? It's not a pretty picture. You may think, oh, it was really a good thing and he was there for me and so forth. Your husband is now living a life on a glass floor, on an eggshell, and he's terrified that in any moment his wife, who he thought was stable, could flip out. I'm not saying for people who've had mental breakdowns or who've had uncontrollable emotions or mental lapses or whatever. I don't know. I'm not an expert in this area. I'm not saying that now your husband can't feel safe. What I am saying is that is definitely not the answer. If that happened, then the relationship needs to come back to harmony, and there needs to be promises that you're going to do whatever you can in your power to not let them happen again. Sometimes we don't have control of it, something with their brain. There's people who are on medication for things because they can't control them, and the medication helps them control. So I don't know. Again, it's not my area, that's expertise. But to walk away from an experience like that and saying, oh, it was a big success, that's an error. That wasn't a big success. There are negative ramifications to that, to what happened, that will come out over time and or maybe immediately. And there's a level of lack of trust in your marriage that could engender. So you have to be very, very careful. It's not we're not looking for authenticity. We're looking for taking care of each other. And that's not Leah Richheimer's great idea. That's what God expects of us. So Hashem should bench you, that you should have koyach, that when you're feeling weak and you're feeling like you're going to lash out, whatever, that you find some distraction, or you find maybe write a book about it. Starting today, get on your computer and every day write one paragraph about how to overcome this issue. Maybe you can help other people with it. I think there's people who've been through stuff and who feel like the circumstances have created them to be a certain way or whatever. They're really good teachers of other people because they've been through it. So use that lack of control as a motivator to have control, and a motivator to make a contribution with that. I would call it a weakness, not a weakness. I don't mean to be mean, but I'm just saying that's not the ideal. The ideal isn't to lose it so that you'll be authentic. The ideal is to have self-mastery and to take care of other people. That's our goal. I'm working on it too. So I'm not any better than you. I'm working. I'm on the ladder going up, and God willing, you are also. Okay. Wow. You guys asked amazing questions today. I'm like blown away. We are done with the chapter 10 on anger. And I'm so proud of you guys for sticking through it. It's a hard topic, a hard issue. And, I've been really inspired by your questions and by your ability to grow in this area and stick with it, because it's hard. It's like, but here we are. We're at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. So good on you. We did good. Okay, let me give you your homework. Your homework is one time this week, when you are feeling out of control, to make yourself in control, to say to yourself, I got mastery, I've got this, and zip your lip, or don't say something that you're going to snap. Just control yourself one time this week. Okay, this is Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you guys next time. If you want more, we have so much more. If you want to learn our Masorah and have an awesome marriage, the first thing we have is a coaching program. If you are awesome with people and you want to know the Masorah better than 99% of the people on the planet Earth, like for reals, okay? It's a 4-month program. It's very intense. We have major scholarships, and we have somebody who's granted in a lot to pay for a big bulk of it. It's still a little expensive, but for what you get, and then you can start charging money to know it. That's the coaching program. Don't miss it. Go to www.ladiestalkshow.com. We do retreats. We do all kinds of stuff. You'll find it there. www.ladiestalkshow.com. Thanks for being with us. Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show.